in the starting lineup, getting his 5th consecutive start.
Jordan Grant has played well enough to merit starting, even though K.J. Moore did come back and play very well off the bench at Colgate, and Ryan Odom says he's going to ride with him in the starting lineup as long as he continues to play this way.
Chicago State starting 5 includes and perhaps features Glen Burns, their fine point guard.
Yeah, point guard is a key to any team. Burns has experience, and he will be looking to set up a lot of teammates. You'll probably see 10 to 12 players on the court for Chicago State in the first half.
Yeah, for Chicago State head coach Tracy Dildy, all of a sudden you and he have become great friends.
Coach Dildy and I talked.
A beautiful day in Baltimore, and thanks for spending part of it with us here on ESPN3. It is Nolan Garrity for UMBC in the circle, and Deontay Simmons for Chicago State. The Cougars with the basketball as we get underway. The battle for Atlanta's mainland tournament continues here at UMBC. Right away, Jordan Grant drawing a foul for UMBC inside the lane.
A blocking foul there called by Michael Kitts, and if that name is familiar to you, it's because his dad, the elder Michael Kitts, is a long-time, very good official who's worked 4 Final Fours. I told him before the game, if you're half as good as your dad, you'll be just fine.
Third member of our broadcast crew is Paul Mittermeier, and he's standing by at the UMBC bench. Paul?
And Gary, you talked about defensively. Tough couple days for UMBC defensively as far as practice goes. Players felt they got better, though. If the Retrievers are going to compete in the America East in the upper echelon, they got to get better defensively. It's been great to see the scoring, but defensively just have to get better.
Well, we'll see what happens today. Chicago State from outside only shooting about 22% from three-point distance. And here's a call against Chicago State.
2 turnovers caused by the Retrievers in 2 possessions. That's certainly a good start. But Paul's point is well taken. We know the Retrievers have scores. Jairus Lyles being the best example, of course. But if they're going to beat the upper echelon, starting with Vermont in the America East Conference, they're going to have to guard better than they did on Sunday at Colgate.
Here's Jairus Lyles with the basketball. He's stuffed by Anthony Harris. Lyles leads the America East in scoring at over 21 per game. And on the return, Lamar with a big block for UMBC. And now out of bounds off Harris. So they'll stay with the Retrievers.
And Ryan Odom's got to be happy to see that, because Jairus Lyles got his shot blocked, which happens. But instead of sulking, the Retrievers hustled back, and Lamar got the block on the shot and did what you have to do. What did we say the other night they weren't doing? They weren't stopping the basketball.
Lyles inside escapes. And he is fouled in the act. Jairus coming off a 26-point, 11-rebound performance at Colgate.
Jairus getting up a little bit sore there. Looked like he came down on his hip after getting fouled on that layup. See him get bumped. And it looked like he went down on his left hip a little bit there. So hopefully he can shake that off. Both coaches in their casual Thanksgiving outfits.
Yep.
Ryan Odom usually sports the sport coat with no tie, but today he's in his UMBC pullover. In fact, all the coaches are. They're dressed identically.
You saw Lyles from Silver Spring, Maryland, played for DeMatha Catholic, his prep career.
That's a fairly well-known high school.
With a fairly well-known coach.
Yeah.
Makes 1 of 2 here, and the Retrievers have the lead early on.
Morgan Wooten, who's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, 1,287 wins, 104 losses at DeMatha.
If you average that out over the course of his career, that's pretty good, is right. Nice turnaround here by Montana Bird, the senior guard out of Chicago, Illinois, and the Cougars have the lead.
Nice post-up move there.
Chicago State located on the south side of Chicago. This is their 4th season in the WAC, after spending 4 in the Great Western Conference. Jordan Grant for UMBC.
The important thing about getting in the WAC is it has a bid, an NCAA tournament bid. The Great Western Conference did not.
And Nolan Garrity with a strong move to the hole on the baseline. He'll go to the line. And that's a good point, John, because in Tracy's 3rd year, I believe, in 13-14, they won the Great Western Conference.
They did.
But didn't get the bid.
That's exactly right. They ended up playing in the CIT, which is their only Division I postseason appearance in school history. They were an NAIA team for years, actually made the NAIA Final Four in 1984 while they were still NAIA. And along the way, they beat Chaminade in the quarterfinals a year after Chaminade's famous win over Virginia and Ralph Sampson. So that's probably the high point for Chicago State basketball.
That's interesting you bring up Chaminade. Did you see their upset the other day?
They crushed Cal yesterday, 96-72.
Adding another victim to their list.
And, of course, the first one was Virginia. And what I remember about that is I was actually covering politics at the time, Maryland politics. And Michael Wilbon was in Hawaii covering the Maryland football team in a bowl game. And he called me the day of that game. I'll tell this story as we go along here.
2-2 the score.
And he said, you know, Virginia's on the way back from Japan. They had played Phi Slamma Jamma there and beaten them. They're playing this little tiny school called Chaminade tonight. Might be a cute story to go and ask the Chaminade kids about what it's like to play against Ralph Sampson and the #1 ranked team in the country. And I said, so go. He said, well, George Solomon, our boss, wants me to go to the Maryland football banquet.
Pull-up jumper by Sims Jr. gives Chicago State the lead.
And I said, don't go to the banquet. Just tell Jack Zane, the SID, Sports Information Director, to call you if anything happens. Nothing will happen.
Sims 2 for 2.
Just go to the game. And when you write the story, George will be happy. So we went to the game, and, of course, Virginia won. And it was stripped at the top of the sports page because nobody else in the country had a reporter at the game. And the next day, Ben Bradley, the great Ben Bradley, executive editor of the Post, walks back to sports and says to George, hey, great job having Wilbon at that game last night. And George goes, yeah, I played a hunch.
Good stuff. Wow, that was, what, 35 years ago?
It was exactly 35 years ago.
And one and done there for UMBC. Lamar on the shot. Chicago State leading by 4 early on. Retrievers are 0 for 3 from the field. Chicago State 3 of 4.
You know, Ryan Odom was saying yesterday, nice drive there.
Oh, great move by Burns.
Quick timeout.
And Ryan Odom not happy with that. He's got both his hands behind his back here. That is not a good pose for Ryan Odom.
Here, it's just 3.5 minutes into the game, has been their Colt shooting the basketball.
0 for 3. There's Tracy Dildy in his 8th season now on the south side of Chicago, taking the Chicago State program into the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference. KJ Mara in the basketball game, handling the ball for UMBC. Played against Colgate the other night. 14 points, all in the first half. 4 of 4 from three-point distance. And now a foul inside on the floor. It'll stay with UMBC.
Away from the ball, and Brandon Cruz not listening to my pregame admonition to not use his whistle today.
And that is the second foul on Montana Bird, so he'll check out.
Again, they play a lot of guys. Bird, a starter, is not somebody you want to have come out, but they will play 10 to 12 guys.
Jelani Pruitt, you just saw, number 2 into the game, a redshirt senior from Gary, Indiana. Here's Lyles now for UMBC. Up top for Sherburne. The Red Raiders of Colgate shot 67% from the field in the second half last time out against UMBC. And that was the key. The Retrievers led by 10 at the half in that game.
I think it was 40-29. I think they led by 11. Not to ever contradict you.
No, God forbid.
Grant, good defense.
They tried Sherburne inside, couldn't complete it. Sims comes away the other way. Now here's Anthony Harris with the drive along the baseline. And Grant there for the foul for UMBC.
Well, I think he just knocked it out of bounds, actually, Gary.
Yes.
And good defense by Grant. And again, better job by UMBC transitioning from offense to defense. That's something Ryan Odom has to like so far.
Inside on
that
Garrity.
He doesn't like. They've been able to get the ball consistently inside to guys either posting up or driving it to the basket on the baseline.
Deontay Simmons from Detroit, Michigan, 6'8", 230 with that one.
Chicago State now zoning. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Retrievers go zone at some point soon.
Jordan Grant tries penetration.
And that's a charge on Grant.
And that'll be the first foul on Jordan. That's the third on the team.
Here comes Grant. He was there, no question. You've got to be there before the offensive player arrives. And in that particular case, the defense was there. And Ryan Odom explaining that right now to Nolan Garrity.
Retrievers bringing Max Portman into the game, the junior college transfer from Wichita Falls, Texas. Nolan Garrity sitting down. Little turnaround inside the lane by Sims is no good. Offensive rebound is plucked away by Mara into the hands of Lyles for UMBC.
And how many times off of scramble rebounds does Jairus Lyles end up with the ball in his hands one way or the other?
Chicago
nice
State
passing
by 8.
there.
That's the way to beat the zone, but they couldn't finish along the baseline with Portman.
Got a good shot, just still unable to make it. Still without a field goal, UMBC.
Rebound by Simmons. UMBC, as we speak, shooting 0 for 5 from the field. Here's Sims. They don't shoot a lot of three-pointers. They only have 111 over 6 games.
Well, you can see early on they're a team that likes to get the ball inside.
Baseline jumper is good for Simmons. That's 4. And the Cougars lead it by 10.
Max Portman basically spectating there on that jump shot. Didn't get a hand up. And a very active zone here by Chicago State. That's the guy you want with a shot.
Joe Sherburne faces the hoop from the corner, and the Retrievers have cut it to 7.
When you're cold, get it to your best shooter, and he is their best shooter, although he's been affected this year by a back problem. Got a cortisone shot on Monday and was telling me before the game that it hasn't helped. That's not a good sign. He's still playing hurt.
That's his 4th three-pointer in 13 attempts this season.
Remember,
offensive rebound by Burns.
For much of last season, he was well over 50% from three-point range.
The beginning part of the year, he led the country.
Yeah, right into January.
The Cougars by 9. Still in that zone. Here's Mara attacking the basket. Open look for Sherburne. This one is short. And a foul underneath. Looks like Portman. No, looked like it'll be on Chicago State.
Yep.
Pruitt, I think, over the back of Portman.
Like he sort of grabbed him, got tangled up with the elbow. Let's see what we have. You see there, they got tangled up, and that left elbow came up. Nothing intentional there, but definitely contact.
First on Pruitt, 5th on the team. The Retrievers have committed 3. Inbound now, new shot clock here for UMBC. The clock right above the basket to the basket the UMBC is shooting is not working.
That's right.
So the shot clock at the game clock is in the corner. And here's a drive to the hole by Lyles, and maybe that'll wake UMBC up.
That's what Jairus Lyles does best, take the ball to the basket. That's the strength of his game. Can do it with the left hand or the right hand, and there he does it with the left hand. And as you mentioned, the shot clock is sitting there in the corner of the bleacher to the left of the basket because the one above the basket isn't working. They were trying to find a second shot clock to put in the bleacher at the other end. See who's ball, and good rebounding effort there by UMBC to retain possession after Lyles missed. They couldn't find a second clock to put at the other end.
Patrick Spear checks into the game for Chicago State, sitting down as Simmons. Lyles could not complete the three-point play, but on the out-of-bounds, UMBC will maintain possession. Retrievers have their work cut out for them this afternoon. The Cougars leading by 7 and shooting 70% from the field.
I'm not sure that's going to last the whole game, Gary.
Retrievers just 2 for 9.
Not sure that's going to last the whole game.
Here's Mara from 3.
Good shot for KJ. It's the first 3 he's missed all season. He was 4 for 4 at Colgate.
And again, underneath, Portman establishing position, and this time a foul called on Chicago State again.
Well, one area where the Retrievers should have an advantage is size inside. Although Chicago State has done a great job offensively getting the ball inside, but they're struggling to rebound on the defensive end.
First foul on Cameron Bowles, who was checked in, a freshman from Chicago, went to Kenwood High School. And Max Portman at the line for UMBC. Portman gives him some size, 6'7", 220. He was an all-region player at Temple Junior College last year. He could play the 4 or the 5.
And by the way, that's in Texas, not Philadelphia.
That is correct. Had 11 points against Central Pennsylvania.
Big guy who can shoot free throws is always a bonus.
And he hits both there. The Retrievers have cut it to 5. It was as many as 10.
Showing some full court pressure here.
And the Cougars breaking it nicely. Here's Sims with a pull-up. They've gone cold a bit now. Two Retrievers had a chance.
Knocked it away from one another, and Chicago State gets the offensive rebound. That was Lyles and Portman.
And that's their 4th offensive rebound. Nice dump in for Sims. Good defense by Lamar. Up top, that Spear. And a foul called on the Cougars.
Moving screen underneath.
So Max.
Ryan Odom continuing to keep the Retrievers in man-to-man, wanting them to get their act together in man-to-man and not switch to zone. And now a quick timeout, 3rd in the country in terms of improving in wins from one season to the next. And that's why Ryan Odom won the award for Best Division I first-year coach, because of that improvement.
No, a timeout called here by the official.
Well,
Michael Kitts.
Michael Kitts saw something he didn't like. Oh, they didn't start the clock.
Yep,
they didn't start the clock. So
there is Michael Kitts.
We're literally going to have a do-over.
You were talking about his dad earlier today, one of the great basketball officials, worked 4 Final Fours.
Yep. Last one was in 07. He's now retired. He's a supervisor. But he worked the Georgetown, Ohio State game in 07.
Second three-pointer for Joe Sherburne. Retrievers now trail it by 2.
Nice to see Sherburne getting those open looks and taking advantage.
Retrievers on a 10-2 run here, 7-0 over the last 50 seconds, and now out of bounds Chicago State. A turnover for the Cougars. Well, Tracy Dildy looking on.
They clearly got the message in that timeout. I'm guessing Coach Odom might have raised his voice a little bit. He doesn't do that very often, but he might have done it there. He might have said the holiday doesn't start until this game's over, fellas.
Garrity, Portman inside.
Nice
Good
move.
work. Max Portman ties it up.
Did a good job using that dribble to square himself up, and there's a steal.
Sherburne. Retrievers have the lead.
And having just called a timeout, Tracy Dildy doesn't want to call another one here.
Joe Sherburne, 8 points for UMBC.
Easily his best game of the season to date.
And off the bench. Now the Cougars with 15 to shoot. Retrievers by 2. And a foul underneath on UMBC.
I think it's on KJ. Is it on Mora?
It's on Sherburne. That's his first.
Sherburne. House, he made them listen to jazz. He wanted them to learn about jazz and how great it was. And he said, oh, and by the way, on this particular album, I'm playing saxophone. Because he was such a good saxophone player, he had actually cut a couple of records. Great block there.
And the putback up and in by Harris. We're tied at 16.
Well, they ran a very good play coming out of the timeout on the inbounds. Got an open shot, what looked like an open shot. Grant got the block, but got it right back and scored.
Sherburne a little too strong. Portman with the offensive rebound. That won't go, but the Retrievers maintain.
KJ Mora went under everybody to get that rebound.
Nice dish from Grant. Portman can't finish. Chicago State with the basketball. Interesting stat early on, John. A team that shoots 111 three-pointers in their first 6 games, making only 22%, has not attempted a three-pointer here today.
Well, and one of the reasons is because they've done such a good job getting the ball inside and getting good shots. There's a 3.
First one, and it is in from Trayvon Bell.
That's what happens when you open your mouth, Gary.
You know what? Happens all the time.
Story of my life.
A redshirt freshman, 6'3", 180 from Chicago, Illinois, prepped at Mather High School.
If I say the sun is out, it starts to rain.
The sun is out today, by the way. At least it was.
It may be raining by now.
Yeah. Portman again on the offensive glass, and he'll draw the foul. Picked up by Bell. Take a look.
Nice spin move there. No finish, but there's Portman. The foul was actually called on Lamar's defender as he went to the basket. That's why he's shooting the free throws. 9th
team foul for Chicago State. Retrievers can't even hit the free throws today. They're 4 for 8. Lamar is 4th in the conference in scoring at 18 per game. Checking in, Daniel Akin, a freshman from England, has only been playing organized basketball for 3 years.
Very raw, but with a lot of upside. And there's another miss by Lamar, but they get the offensive board again. They've done that twice now off of missed free throws.
4 for 9 as a team for UMBC from the charity stripe. Mora penetrating. Grant open for 3. Sherburne going to have to backtrack. Mora saves it.
Smart play by Sherburne. He saw that Mora was going to get it and got out of the way.
Lamar converts for UMBC. And that is Lamar's first points in 8 minutes this afternoon.
If at first you don't succeed.
We're tied at 19. Retrievers now 3 for 8 from downtown. 6 for 18 overall. Spear picked up by Akin. Up top now for Bowles. 6 to shoot. Downtown, short. Long rebound for Grant. Retrievers want to run. Grant. Rebound, Chicago State. And now a foul called on Akin as Spear was making his way up the floor.
Again, I mentioned Aachen is raw, and that's the kind of mistake you make. You're in transition and you commit a foul right at midcourt.
This will be a foul on the floor. Retrievers have only committed 5 as a team.
9 already for Chicago State.
Right, next one puts the Retrievers in the double bonus, and we still have 9.5 to play in the half. Sherburne sits down for UMBC, and Max Curran checks back in the game. Sherburne's line, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from downtown. 7 minutes, 8 points.
As I said, best he's played so far. This is 5th game of the season for UMBC.
Averaging just 4.5 per game off the bench. Little floater up and in by Shaw. Rob Shaw, a junior from Louisville, Kentucky. And now the Retrievers answer from Grant. And Grant with a steal.
They beat the defense down, and let's see which way this foul goes. It's going to be
on Shaw.
It's going to be on Shaw because Grant was in midair making the steal, and Shaw moved in underneath him. Not in any attempt to hurt him, just to try to get to the basketball. Very alert play by Grant after making the basket to look up and steal that inbounds pass.
And so now the 10th team foul on Chicago State. Grant in the double bonus for UMBC.
Continuing to struggle from the foul line, though.
4 of 10 as a team. The Retrievers came in shooting 72% from the free throw line, and last year, actually, in the second half of the season, was the best in the America East Conference from the line.
I think ultimately they'll be a good free throw shooting team. There are too many good shooters on this team not to be, but today they've been cold starting out. 5 out of 11.
Grant 1 for 2, Retrievers by 1. 9 minutes to play in the half. Here's Shaw now past the timeline. Take by Bell to the basket. Another offensive rebound. Rejected by Curran, but a foul called, I believe, on Max.
That was nice help on the initial shot by Aachen, coming up from behind to block the shot, but loose ball goes right to Chicago State. There you see Aachen, how high he can get up off the ground. And then that was Curran reaching in.
Curran's facial expression told us that he thought he got all ball.
Have you ever met a player who didn't think he got all ball?
I've never met a player who didn't
I have
think
never
he got
met a
all ball.
player who committed a foul.
That player doesn't exist.
Nope.
Missed free throw for Pruitt. Checking in Fred Sims Jr. and sitting down is Bell. So Sims checks back into the game with 4 points, 2 of 4 from the field.
Sims is their best scorer, as I mentioned in the open. Only guy on this team who averages in double figures.
Pruitt gets the second of 2, the transfer from West Florida. Knocks the game up at 22.
Little shooter's roll there for Pruitt on that second one.
Second game of this doubleheader, by the way. Presbyterian College out of South Carolina University. Out of South Carolina. Mara, the turnover for UMBC, will take on the high-flying Nicholls State squad from Thibodaux, Louisiana.
And tomorrow, UMBC will play at 2:30, regardless of the outcome of this game, for the simple reason that Chicago State, it'll be winners playing each other, losers playing each other, but Chicago State, even if they win, will play at noon because they've got to get a flight to get to play at Drake in Iowa this weekend.
A lot of travel in the non-conference portion. Teams going in a lot of different places. Good defense underneath by Lamar on the block, denying Pruitt the shot.
Retrievers have had a bunch of blocks here in the early going. I think that's about 5, isn't it? You're the stats guy.
Good ball movement here. Lamar strong, a little out of control. Gets his own rebound, some English on it. There's a lid on the basket, but the Retrievers will maintain possession.
Actually, they'll go to the free throw line. Good hustle there from the weak side by Aachen. Here you go, Lamar. As you said, he's a little out of control. Kind of lucky there was no call there, but he gets his own. Goes back up, still can't finish. That was a much better shot. Here comes Aachen flying in from the weak side, and he gets fouled.
In answer to your question, 4 blocks officially for UMBC. 2 for Lamar, 1 for Aachen, 1 for Grant. Mara checks out. Lyles back into the game. The free throw from Aachen is good, giving the Retrievers a 1-point lead. Daniel Aachen saw 15 minutes in the opener, but since only 6, 8, and 3. But coming up here with a couple of points and a block early on for the Retrievers.
They're struggling at the free throw line, and the freshman goes to the line and makes 2.
You talked about his athleticism. At one point in his high school career in England, he was 3rd in the country in the long jump. Nice steal by Lamar. 2-on-1, 3-on-2. Lyles ahead of the field. Lyles can't convert. Ocken can't convert. Horvath in there does convert.
So the young guy's coming up with the finishes. The older guy's struggling to finish.
Brandon Horvath with the basket, the freshman from West River, Maryland, 6'9", 200. Here's Shaw wheeling and dealing to Sims. Little floater in the lane is good for Fred Sims.
Off the wrong foot, no less. Shot it off the left foot and still made it.
Looked like he was taking an Arthur Murray dance lesson. Retrievers by 2, 7:10 to play in the half. The opener of the Battle for Atlantis Mainland Tournament here at UMBC. By the way, first tournament hosted by UMBC since the Battle of Baltimore in 2003.
Well, Baltimore's a lot closer to here than Atlantis.
Yeah, the visiting teams didn't have to travel very far. Here's Spear with a spin move inside.
That's a walk.
And they do cite Spear for the turnover.
Timeout on the floor.
Timeout on the floor. 6:51 left to play in game 1. Hence the moniker Grit. Congratulations, Matt Shannon. Great baseball season for UMBC last year. Back to the action. Brandon Horvath bringing it in for UMBC off the bench with a good putback, giving the Retrievers a 2-point lead. It's Lyles, Lamar, Horvath, Grant, and Ocken for UMBC.
3 starters and 2 freshman big guys.
Lamar, his second three-pointer of the afternoon.
Whoa, buzzer went off there for some reason. He's shooting with so much more confidence than he had a year ago.
Lamar now on the season, 14 for 26 from downtown, better than 50%.
He'll take that and run every time.
Lamar in the conference, 2nd overall in percentage. Nice drive, nice left there by Pruitt, and the lead is 3 for UMBC.
And I think they've still only attempted the 1-3. Their offense is built on going to the basket and post-ups.
Actually 1 for 2 from downtown.
Sorry about that.
No problem. I'm the numbers guy anyway.
That's what you're here for.
Yep. Horvath to correct John Feinstein. Horvath for 3. 5 of 10 overall for UMBC. Horvath off the bench with 5.
He's done a nice job. So is Ocken.
Pruitt with a nice spin with the left.
Pruitt beat Ocken that time. Ocken not wanting to foul. Pruitt, as you said, nice move with the left hand.
But the Retrievers will trade 3 for 2 any day. Outside, Horvath had a notion. Gets it back.
Maybe a little too confident there.
Pruitt on the rebound for the Cougars. Shaw running for Chicago State. Here's Pruitt. Behind the back, he'll go to the left again. Pruitt this time can't hit. But does pick up the rebound on the baseline, loose ball.
Slipped away there from Lamar.
Shaw underneath. Dangerous pass picked off by Ocken.
Good play by Ocken stepping in front of that pass.
Nice feed to Lyles on the right side, but the Cougars do a good job of getting back. UMBC will now run the half-court set. Grant breaking down the defense. Stripped from behind by Burns, and it's out of bounds off Chicago State.
16 seconds on the shot clock. And
take a look at Horvath. Good ball movement.
Nice
here.
Ball reversal there. He's wide open, steps into the shot.
Brandon Horvath.
Everybody shoots the 3 in college basketball now. Everybody.
It is. That's the game. I mean, do the math, you know?
No, as I've said before, if you shoot 33% from 3, which is relatively low, that's the equivalent of shooting 50% from 2, which is very good. So you're right. It makes even the analytics guys, who I don't understand, I don't even know what language they're speaking, would agree with that.
Are you saying?
Or they would say, I agree with them because they're such experts on everything.
Sherburne at the free throw line. That's the second foul on Pruitt, by the way. Sherburne now with 9. So are you saying you're not analytical?
No, I am not analytics. I can analyze. But I do it with my eyes, not with numbers most of the time. Not that numbers can't tell you things, but I think they're overused in all sports nowadays. And this whole thing with WAR in baseball.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't mind using it, but it's become like the ultimate decider of who's a good player and who's not. To the point where they wanted to give Mike Trout the MVP several years ago based on WAR when Miguel Cabrera won the Triple Crown.
Nice take to the hole, but no basket for Pruitt. Or correction, for Burns. Rebound UMBC.
Good passing here by the Retrievers. You've got to keep the ball moving against the zone defense. And that's a touch foul. And it'll be a two-shot foul.
Yep, no shot for Lyles. Foul will be called on Burns.
That's the kind of hand check that the NCAA wants to see called. There was definitely contact. But see, what I would say to the NCAA is, why do you take the advantage away from Lyles? He got past the defender and had a layup. So why take that advantage away and stop the game? Officials should be instructed to call a foul when there's an advantage gained by the fouler.
Checking into the game here is Simeon Henton.
Again, I'm not criticizing the officials for making those calls because they were instructed to make those calls.
Lyles hits both. He's got 5. Foul trouble for Chicago State. Bird with 3. Burns and Simmons with 2 apiece. Wow. Retrievers don't have any with anybody over 1.
Burns and Simmons are particularly important. You're talking about your leading scorer and your point guard.
Retrievers now with an 8-point lead. It's their largest of the afternoon.
Nice
Good
pass
work inside,
there.
backdoor up and in by Fenton. Or by Henton, I should say.
They've run very good offense throughout this half. They really have.
Akin beats the field and lays it in.
Good look there by KJ Mora.
Daniel Akin now with 4. Mora with his 3rd assist this afternoon. 3:35 and counting left in the half. Here's Shaw, a left-handed 3 from the right side. Sherburne sets. 3 3-pointers for Jeff.
Really nice ball reversal there by KJ Mora to find. But he's been stepping into his shot and looking like the Joe Sherburne of last year, which is a very good thing for UMBC.
From Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, not too far from Green Bay.
Couldn't have been happy with last Sunday's game, right?
Absolutely not. I'm sure he took some ribbing locally.
I'm sure he did.
But that's the way it goes. UMBC by 11 now, coming up on 3 minutes left in the first half. Chicago State with the basketball. And
walking,
now traveling.
Yeah, good call. By the way, Tracy Dildy, even though that became a TV timeout, that was a called timeout by Tracy Dildy, their second, meaning they'll only have 2 in the first half, but clearly he didn't want to wait for the next whistle because he was afraid the game was getting out of hand.
That turnover by Cameron Bowles was the team's 10th. Retrievers have committed just 4. And remember, you're right, getting out of hand. Remember, Chicago State had a 10-point lead in this game.
They've been outscored since that timeout that Ryan Odom called early. They've been outscored 39-20.
Pull-up jumper by KJ Mora. Foul underneath on the Cougars. Retrievers starting to establish position inside.
Well, they've done a nice job on the offensive board really from the beginning. And as I said, they do have a size advantage with a lot, especially some of these younger big guys coming in off of UMBC's bench. Akin has done a very nice job inside so far. And I was about to say, and he can make his free throws as he back rims the first one.
Spear checks in for Chicago State. Sitting down is Bowles, who just committed the turnover. Akin misses the first. Daniel, 8 minutes, 4 points, 2 of 3 from the line, make it 2 of 4. And nice defense by Mora as Spear put the ball down too low.
One of his specialties. He uses his size or lack thereof to his advantage because he can get so low so quickly.
He was the leader last year in the America East in steals per game, a shade under 2. And now this one is out of bounds off Akin.
You know, I remember Dave Odom last year, Ryan's dad, great coach as we know, telling me that Mora reminded him a little bit of Muggsy Bogues, who of course played at Wake Forest in the 80s, because of Muggsy's ability to use his size. Now, KJ weighs about half as much as Muggsy did, but he does use his height to take advantage of guys if they ever leave the ball down low.
And that's exactly what Spear did a moment ago. There's KJ on the baseline. Good spin move there by Henton.
I think it's on Sherburne.
This will be number 2 on Joe.
Ryan Odom standing there going, did you really have to call that?
That'll be the 7th on the team, so Chicago State now in the bonus.
2 on Joe Sherburne. See if Ryan Odom chooses to let him keep playing or gets him out with the 2 fouls. I think he's getting him out.
At the free throw line, Simeon Henton from North Chicago, a freshman guard, 6'3". Sherburne does sit down.
You know, Muggsy Bogues used to drive Dean Smith nuts because he was so good at getting underneath ball handlers and making steals. And Dean always insisted that the officials couldn't see that he was fouling because he was so low to the ground. He would always point out to the officials, look how he's still fouling even though it's down low.
Did you happen to see the 30 for 30 on ESPN about the Dunbar basketball team, the legendary boys basketball team?
I did not see that.
Muggsy was part of that, obviously.
Yes, he was. Reggie Williams was part of it. Reggie Lewis was part of that.
Yep.
Late
David
Reggie
Wingate.
Lewis. Yeah.
Free throw by Henton, 41-32. Retrievers lead it by 9. Lamar, turnaround, that's too strong.
That's the worst shot he's taken all day.
Bell,
maybe all season.
Bell with the rebound for Chicago State.
Looked like the ball might have slid off the side of his hand.
Wheel it inside for Sims with Lamar, and a foul called on Lamar.
Well, and again, good passing by Chicago State into the post. It's a very underrated skill in basketball, is getting the ball into the post to a guy who's in position to score. Chicago State's done a nice job of that today.
Sims at the line. He was their leading scorer last year, John, 18.5. Check out some of the numbers against big competition. Last year, 26 at Wisconsin, 26 at Marquette.
Well, and they have played big-time competition already this year. They've played at Iowa, at Purdue, at Notre Dame, at Northern Iowa. Their 2 wins are against Division III teams, and Ryan Odom was saying it makes it really hard to judge how good they are because they've either been routed or routed their opponent. They have not played a game to date, Gary, where the final margin was less than 35 points.
Either way.
Win or lose.
Sims hits both for Chicago State. 3 ball in the corner by Grant. Rebound for Bell. So the Cougars now have a chance to cut it to 4 or 5. Spin move, high off the glass, offensive rebound. Rejected by Horvath. That was Harris going up. Horvath on the return from Mara. Lyles, the rainmaker. His first 3 of the afternoon.
Oh, Horvath deserves a lot of credit for that. Blocks the shot, runs the floor, makes a great catch on the pass, and then that should be a charge, and it is. And then realizing he's not in position to shoot because his back was to the basket, he finds Lyles on the perimeter for the open 3.
Ocken draws the foul. He'll check out.
Watch this.
Checks in.
Nice catch there, and then very alertly, knowing he's not in position to score, dishes it back to Lyles.
Retrievers have to be pleased, John. They've gotten big contributions from newcomers today. Ocken, Horvath, Portman.
And particularly the 2 freshmen who have given him a real spark off the bench.
Lyles, back-to-back 3s. No, it's too short. Spear on the rebound for Chicago State.
They can hold for 1 now.
Retrievers by 10. And holding it right now is Henton. You see the clock in the middle of your screen. No shot clock here.
Big defensive possession for UMBC here. It'll mean a lot going into the locker room if they can get a stop and not foul.
Spear out of the high post to the hole.
Nice play by Spear. Nice drop step. And they just turned it over. Although they won't have a chance to shoot the ball. There's 2 tenths left.
It's got to be
that
a
means
catch
all
and
they
shoot.
can do is not catch and shoot. They have to tap it in. They can't catch it. Under 3 tenths, you cannot catch the ball and shoot. You got to throw it at the rim and try to tap it in. That's their only chance. That won't count no matter what.
And a whistle with .1.
I think that's the end of the half.
Yep, that will be it.
The whistle from Brandon Cruz was to indicate the shot can't count. So
the offensive effort says they have to they stay disciplined and run their stuff. He thinks they'll be able to get good shots in the second half.
Just talking about the 14 offensive rebounds for UMBC.
Yeah, and they were disciplined and did run their stuff. The problem wasn't with their offense. It was, as Paul said, as Tracy Dildy said, with their defensive rebound. That was their biggest Achilles heel.
So the lesson here, John, is Tracy Dildy is seeing the same things that we are.
Well, maybe that means we know a little about basketball.
I don't know.
No,
that can't be.
Nah. We just lucky guess.
UMBC with the basketball first. Look at Lamar. Nice setup, three-pointer. Arkell hits it.
And Tracy Dildy came out, changed defenses, went to man, and again, UMBC did a good job of recognizing it. They get a good open shot to start the half.
That's 9 for Lamar, and all are from downtown.
Nice play there.
Overplay by Garrity, steals the basketball.
Stepped right in front of the offensive player to make that steal. Garrity's been very quiet so far this season. I think Ryan Odom would like to see him really pick things up.
Odom looks like he's lost some weight. There's a spin move by Lyles.
He spun. The ball did
contact and a basket for Harris.
And Ryan Odom made a point about one of the problems in the Colgate game was so many turnovers led to baskets for Colgate. And that's an example of that. You can't turn the ball over and then let the other team race it down court.
Max Curran off rim and glass, no good. Rebound Chicago State.
This time UMBC's back.
Sims Jr. on the rebound for the Cougars. Stolen away. Here's Lyles off to the races. Lyles with the right. And it rolls off. Garrity the rebound. Grant the follow for
That's
UMBC.
at least the third time that Jairus Lyles has put himself in great scoring position and not finished today. Very unusual for him.
Now remember, we saw him land hard on the hip early.
Left hip early in the game. That's a good point. He might be struggling a little bit.
Retrievers by 11, 49-38. Just
take a court order to get Jairus Lyles to sit down.
Lyles leads the America East in minutes per game,
like
36.3.
And in fact, talking to Ryan yesterday, he made the point that they have got to get more time on the bench for Jairus Lyles as the season goes on. He can't play 36 minutes a night because you're going to wear down by the time you get to February and March if he does that.
Grant denied in the lane. Rebound Cougars. Harris finishes at the rim for Chicago State.
A little bump and a quick no call. Good no call there.
Harris slow to get up.
And an interesting timeout there called by Tracy Dildy.
We'll take 1-2 with 17. On Monday the 27th, the Denver Pioneers come east December 7th. Ryan Odom does not know who he will play tomorrow, but he'll have his team more than likely ready.
Interesting that you mentioned that because for the coaches, the holiday does not start at the end of this game. They will stay here. They will scout the Nicholls State Presbyterian game. And the way Ryan Odom does it, in this case, he doesn't assign a specific coach to one team or the other. They divide it up amongst themselves. And Nate Dixon will take all the defensive plays for the other team. There's a foul, obviously. Eric Skeeters will take all the offensive plays. And Bryce Crawford will just look at specific personnel and what they do. But they'll be here for that game. Then they'll go look at some tape. And then maybe around 7 o'clock, they'll get to have Thanksgiving dinner.
Pruitt checks in for Chicago State. Bird sits down. Max Curran at the line for the second of 2.
First point of the game for Max Curran.
And Curran now with a pair. Retrievers back up by 11. That Nicholls State team that's playing next against Presbyterian, they're an interesting team. They're averaging over 100 and giving up over 100 this year.
You mentioned when we were talking before the game that they play a lot like Citadel. And remember that game in here last year, 120-112, the Retrievers won in double overtime.
Highest scoring game in RAC history. Most points scored ever by UMBC.
This will be one of the last chances to break that record.
New building, the event center, on tap, hopefully later this month, and well, December.
Next month.
Yep. Three-pointer by Lamar. That's his 4th in 4 tries this afternoon.
And his shot looks so smooth going up, doesn't it? He's always squared up. Sometimes when guys get hot from 3, they'll want to shoot it whenever they catch it. Arkell Lamar has not taken a non-squared up shot yet.
3 ball in the corner. Answer for Chicago State. It's Trayvon Bell.
Bell's hit a couple of those today.
Bell now for the game with 6 in 8 minutes off the bench.
The moving screen. I think they called it.
I think it's on Curran.
On Curran.
That'll be 3 on Max Curran early here in the second half.
I'm not sure. I think the reason Max Curran might move on a screen is because he's so skinny. He figures he has to keep moving, otherwise the guy will go right through him. That's a joke.
I got it.
Okay. Just want to be sure.
Ryan Odom for UMBC not making a change here. And Harris with a reverse for Chicago State.
And again, they got the lead up to 14, and then they kind of took a couple plays off on defense. And that's something Ryan Odom will, I guarantee, point out when they look at this tape.
Second foul on Harris. And an official's timeout here with 15:49 left to go in the game. Arkel Lamar, 4 for 4 from downtown for UMBC. Retrievers by 9.
Off after making a big bucket, and the Retrievers were guilty of it after that Lamar 3. They took a play off defensively after building the lead to 14, and then quickly had a turnover and another quick bucket. And the TV timeout actually came at a good time for UMBC.
Harris with 8, as we just saw, a JUCO transfer from South Suburban. A junior this year for Tracy Dildy at Chicago State.
I like it better when Sherburne catches and shoots.
He's pretty good at that.
He's very good at that. In that case, he took a quick dribble and then shot. He's not quite as balanced, it seems to me, when he does that.
This foul is on Lamar for Arkel. That's his 3rd. Ryan Odom looking along the bench here. Let's take a look at the last foul. Not a lot, I'll say that.
Hard to see, yeah.
That's a air ball put up in the corner here.
Well, good defense there by Grant, getting out on the shooter. That's what you have to do.
Sherburne wanted that 3.
Joe Sherburne almost never forces anything. It's one of his strengths and sometimes a weakness, because sometimes he passes up good shots.
Retrievers with 10 to shoot here. Nice look inside for Sherburne. He'll kick it back outside. Lamar works to get his shot. Lamar! Another 2 for Arkel Lamar.
Well, it's a very smart play by Lamar. They're extending their defense to try to get to him because he's made 4 threes. So he just goes with a shot fake, dribbles inside to 17 feet and makes the shot.
Lead back up to 11 for UMBC. Retrievers came in at 1 and 3. The Cougars at 2 and 4. Out of bounds off Grant. Let's watch Lamar work for the shot here.
Watch here. When he catches it, he's guarded. Nice reversal by Sherburne. Shot fake is... okay, we never got to the shot there.
Believe me, it exists.
We know on the scoreboard it exists. And there's an example again on that inbounds pass where you saw the ball caught as if, oh, I can't let it go in the backcourt. You can always let it go in the backcourt off an inbounds pass. A lot of players just don't know that rule.
Max Portman in the basketball game gets the rebound for UMBC. Here's Grant with the give back to Portman. Foul line jumper is good for the junior.
The Retrievers, who started this game shooting 0 for 5, have certainly heated up.
Portman now with 6 off the bench in 6 minutes. You know, John, we talked about doing the math, right? The 2-pointers versus the 3-pointers. Chicago State with the turnover here. The Cougars have 2 more field goals than UMBC, 19-17. But the Retrievers from 3, 9 makes. Chicago State only 2.
There's also a pretty big differential at the free throw line, too.
13-5 in that category. Up top for Sherburne. 15 to shoot. Grant, good ball movement. Lamar from 3. Lamar is on fire.
He really is.
Lamar with 17 for the Retrievers leads the way.
And how many field goals has he attempted?
On 10 shots.
17 points on 10 shots. That's about as efficient as you can possibly get.
And that is 5 3-pointers for Arkel Lamar. That is a season high and a career high.
That's a good call. That's a good call. Brandon Cruz making the call on Portman. And that's what I mean about calling the advantage. There was a bump, and the ball wasn't turned over. But then when Portman committed the bump over there on Burns, he lost the ball in the backcourt. So you either have to call backcourt or you have to call foul. It was a foul.
Lamar on the season, he's 5 for 5 today from 3. He's 17 for 29. These are Joe Sherburne-like numbers. Here's Harris. Switch defense here for UMBC. 3 to shoot. And a foul with 3 seconds left on the shot clock.
That's the first time today I think you mentioned the shot clock. Both teams getting in their offense very quickly. You see the drive and the foul. And it's just a matter of deciding which player committed the foul on Harris there.
They call it on Grant. I thought Grant did a good job of coming over on help.
No, he did come over to help, but there was contact.
Anthony Harris at the line for the Cougars. A junior from Gary, Indiana, shot 59% last year from the field at South Suburban. Ryan Odom talking to his guard, Jordan Grant, who has really matured into a nice-looking player here at UMBC.
Here's your performing arts trivia question of the day.
Oh, man.
What great,
on Thanksgiving Day, no less.
What famous musical has a song in which the words Gary, Indiana are sung?
I know the song. I can't tell you the
Indiana's
I can't tell you the musical. The Music Man. Just an FYI, and I'm sure you probably know this.
Nice drive, nice block.
I wasn't named after the city.
I never thought I thought the city was named after you. When I was in college, you know, Cameron Indoor Stadium is named after a guy named Eddie Cameron, who was a coach and an athletic director at Duke. And I wrote a column in which I referenced Eddie Cameron, and I jokingly said, a loyal Duke alumnus named after the indoor stadium. And he came up to me at the next game and he said, young man, I'll have you know the indoor stadium was named after me. That's a foul.
And one for Harris.
Yep. Good job by Harris staying after the ball there.
And if I'm not mistaken, Michael Jackson, the late Michael Jackson from Gary, Indiana.
I believe you are correct. Jackson 5.
Correct.
It's not basketball team. Jackson 5.
Although Jackson State does have a basketball team.
They do have a basketball team, and they played at Maryland the other night.
That's right. And, of course, their most famous athletic alum?
Football player.
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton, that's right. I knew it was a football player because they've had some pretty good football players.
That indeed is true.
He was a great one.
Harris to try to complete the three-point play. Retrievers by 12 as we speak. By 11. Anthony Harris now.
Chicago State doing a nice job of hanging around.
9 points for Harris. KJ Mara back in the game.
This is a team that I think will be competitive in the WAC.
1-13 a year ago.
Yeah, I think they'll be better.
Nice by Lyles.
Finally a finish for Jairus Lyles. He's gotten in position several times today, going to the basket, not been able to finish or gotten fouled. That time he did finish.
Lyles just 3 for 8 from the field. He's got 10 now for UMBC. The lead is back up to 16. Or correction, 13.
And again, UMBC is fouling much more than Ryan Odom wants to see him foul. Good drive there, but you can't foul like that.
Arkel Lamar for UMBC leading the way, 17 with a deft touch from outside.
Was the offense, they just were cold.
Lamar remedied that. 17 points, 6 of 10 from the field.
The whole team has really remedied it since then. What is their total shooting? You're the guy who can see the stat.
41%, 19 for 46. But they started
since then, they're 19 of 41, and they made a bunch of threes.
That's right.
And they've gotten to the foul line most of the day.
Speaking of that, here's Pruitt at the foul line. Missed the second. Horvath with the rebound for UMBC. And Horvath will bring it past the timeline. Retrievers by 12 with about 11 and a half left to play. UMBC looking for victory number 2 this year. And their first against a Division I team.
Well, and the only one of those losses, though, that was really disappointing was the game at Colgate. Remember, this is only their second home game. The first one was against Central Penn, a non-D1 team. But to lose at SMU and at Arizona, hardly anything to be ashamed of. And they were in both games. Sherburne again shooting off the dribble, not as effective, but a good rebound by Horvath.
And Chicago State foul.
Mentioned Horvath and Aki, the 2 freshman big guys, have done a nice job off the bench today. It's only the third foul on Chicago State. That's what I mean about fouling too often. The Retrievers are already in the bonus, having fouled 7 times in this half.
There's Mike Kitts going over to the scorer's table.
I think it has something to do with the shot clock again.
Could very
He's
well
looking
be.
down at it. We do have shot clocks now.
Both sides.
Both sides. I'm not sure why the one is still on, though, above UMBC's basket.
Maybe a little home cooking because the Retrievers are going that way.
Could be. But if I don't think it makes much difference, but all things being equal, it should be turned off.
Lyles, great move, can't finish though. Rebound for Pruitt. Chicago State, you said it earlier, still hanging around.
Well-coached team. Like the way they run their stuff. They play hard on defense.
Another block for UMBC, this time from Lyles. Cougars get back. Well, you know, Tracy Dildy comes in with a nice resume, assisted at some big-time schools.
Worked for Pat Kennedy at DePaul. And as I said, he will tell you he learned his basketball from Sonny Cox when he played for him at Martin Luther King. Sonny Cox produced a lot of great players coming out of the Chicago area through the years.
Good work by Daniel Ocken. There's Dildy on the sidelines. He's maybe had a little bit of a headache. Watching his team get beat along the boards. Retrievers again with 14 offensive rebounds in the first half.
And that'll make a coach crazy because as a coach, you always think that rebounding is about effort. And if the other team gets 14 offensive rebounds, again, the UMBC has a size advantage, but that's too many. The other thing, though, to be fair, when you're playing zone, it's harder to rebound.
Here's a steal now. Retrievers with their 9th turnover today.
Nice look.
That's a 3-ball.
Nice look out of the double team, finding the open man.
Trayvon Bell.
That's his 3rd three, isn't it?
And it cuts the lead now to single digits, 9. Plenty of time left. Just under 10 minutes.
It's forever left. Chicago State back in that zone. They defend better out of it. The problem, of course, has been the rebounding.
Laura will launch. And a rebound for Glen Burns.
Nothing wrong with that shot from KJ Moore, except the fact that it didn't go down. It almost felt like when the Retrievers got the lead at 14 that they took a deep breath, started thinking about Thanksgiving dinner. A little premature.
UMBC now 10 for 20.
Well, that's a bad turnover.
And that will be their 17th turnover.
Ball just went right off of Harris's leg as he tried to take that handoff.
Back in the game, Jordan Grant. Sitting down is Horvath. Also sitting down is Akin.
See if they don't let Jairus Lyles create something here, either for himself or finding a shooter on the perimeter.
Retrievers go 3 guards here with Grant, Lyles, and Mara. Portman and Sherburne down low for UMBC. Here's Sherburne, high post. That pass finds its way to Lyles. 10 to shoot here for UMBC. No, the spacing wasn't very good at all.
No, it wasn't good at all. And Chicago State very quick with hands. 6 seconds now on the shot clock. So KJ Moore will inbound. They'll probably look to set up a screen for a shooter here. Either that or Lyles will take it and go straight to the basket, one or the other.
They'll put the tallest guy on the floor, Spear, against the shortest guy on the floor, Morrow, for the inbound.
Well, that's because he doesn't have much room here in front of the front row of seats. Morrow moves as far back as he possibly can.
I think actually Morrow's catching a break because the ball, I think, should be placed right here at the scorers.
And that would mean you have even less room.
Correct.
Got it inbounds. Lyles will go all the way to the basket here.
Lyles gives to Sherburne, and a block is called underneath.
And the block was on the pass, so they'll inbound again, but they'll get a new clock. Clock should be recycled to 30 here. Oh, 20, I'm sorry, the new rule. If there's a foul, it's 20 seconds in the front court.
Foul committed by Bird. Sherburne bails him out with a big 3.
And nice ball movement by Grant, finding him open.
Sherburne now with 16. That's his 4th three-pointer today. He's got more three-pointers today than he did in the first 4 games combined.
And I guarantee you Ryan Odom's giving thanks for that on Thanksgiving.
So Lamar was 17, Sherburne was 16. That represents 33 of the 66.
And they've got 8 threes between them, or 9 threes between them, right?
That is correct. 9 of 11.
Lyles has 1 and Horvath has 1.
Substitution here. Sims checks back in the game.
Sims has been relatively quiet.
So is Burns.
Yeah. Burns isn't as much a scorer as a facilitator. Sims is the scorer in the group.
Good defense by Mara, kicking it out. Not literally. They only have 5 to shoot. I don't know if they recognize that.
They don't. He didn't know
Shot clock violation.
Burns didn't. Burns forgot that the clock didn't recycle, and we'll go to TV timeout here.
By 12 for UMBC with just under 8 minutes to play in the game. Max Portman. Back at you here with 7:59 left to go. Retrievers by 12 in game 1 of the Battle for Atlantis Mainland Tournament at UMBC. Joe Sherburne sending it in for the Retrievers.
So what does the winner of these, the team that wins 2 games here, get from Atlantis, besides the money for playing?
Probably the money for playing.
Well, actually, Ryan Odom made the point that the reason they love having these 2 games here, there's a bad turnover by Grant, is because you get to play 2 home games and you don't have to return them because they're part of the tournament. Normally, you get teams in here like this, you'd have to go back next year to Chicago State and Nicholls State or Presbyterian.
Chicago State now with 10 to shoot. They just had a shot clock violation moments ago. Here's Harris trying to break down Lyles. Harris all the way, too strong. Offensive rebound, steer, that won't go. Portman pulls it down for UMBC.
I think Burns was surprised he was that open going to the basket there.
Here's Mara.
Joe Sherburne almost never forces anything.
KJ, ball fake. Retrievers have to reverse it around. Sherburne spots up.
Now he's open. See? When he catches and shoots, he's much more effective.
That's 19 for Sherburne, and Joe now 5 for 7 from downtown.
And the 2 misses were off the dribble, just for the record.
Let's check Joe's career numbers in terms of per game. 3 ball from the corner. Sherburne, of course, a junior this year.
And I'm assuming his GPA is still 4.0.
It's got to be. His record, personal record for 3-pointers in a game, 6 twice. Last time at Mount St. Mary's. So he is 1 off of that.
I remember that game at Mount St. Mary's last year. He made about 4 in a row to start the second half and break that game open.
Lead up to 15. I think this is the largest of the game. Here's steal, deflected by Mara into the hands of Sherburne.
Nice play by KJ, always active with his hands in the passing lanes.
Retrievers will slow it down, coming up on 6 minutes left to play.
Bucket here might be the dagger.
Portman, nice look from Grant.
17-point lead now, 6 to go.
Jordan Grant's 5th assist. Max Portman now with 8 points.
Ryan Odom yelling at his players to get back on defense there. Again, they have this tendency to celebrate.
Jordan Grant, by the way, leads the conference, the America East in assists per game, 5.3 coming in. He's now got 5 today. Can't finish here, and Grant with the rebound. Grant in transition for UMBC. Sherburne.
Catch and shoot. Oh, he missed. Perfect
Rebound
record
for Burns.
until then. Good show by Portman out there. Burns determined to go to the bucket. Nice play.
He is determined.
He's got a big body, and when he puts his head down, he's tough to stop. Tracy Dildy said that he may not be their best player, but he's their most consistent player.
Coming up on 5 minutes left in this one.
See if UMBC is content to run a little bit of clock here at this point in the game.
Rainmaker from Lyles.
Lyles decided to heck with the clock. Let's put some points on the board.
That's 11 for Jarris. Field goal Three-point field goal number 2.
That's the best looking shot he's taken today.
Largest lead of the game for UMBC.
Not just because it went in, but because of the delivery.
Well, and he had time and space.
Yes, he did.
Nice feed inside. Counted and a foul.
Yeah, KJ Moore tried to reach down to make that steal on Simmons before he could get into position, and got there just a second late and got him on the wrist instead of getting the ball.
On KJ, foul number 1. Retrievers go with substitutions here. KJ will stay in. Garrity and Lamar check in. Sherburne sits along with Portman.
It's a lot of minutes for Sherburne when you realize that because of the back injury, he hasn't been playing many minutes every day. And Ryan Odom needs to be aware, and I'm sure he is, that he's got another game to play tomorrow.
Simmons completes the three-point play, the senior from Detroit. He played with Jelani Pruitt, his teammate here at Chicago State last year in junior college at Lincoln Trail. The lead down to 15, 74-59, but only 4:15 left to play. Mara around the perimeter, and Lyles will save it.
This is where Jarris is at his best.
Good ball movement, penetration,
nice.
and the dish.
Nice.
And Garrity eats it up for UMBC.
Lyles very patient, giving it up, more knowing if he got in the lane, somebody came to him, somebody would be open, and it was Garrity.
There's Shaw back in the basketball game for the Cougars.
Good defense there.
Garrity. Second chance, though, works for Chicago State.
It was Simmons.
Deontay Simmons now with 9 in the game. So Sherburne sitting down now for Ryan Odom, leads the game with 19. Lamar. Corner for Grant. And the Retrievers are now with 13 three-point makes in this game.
And one of the reasons they've been effective from 3 is because of moving the ball inside and outside. Most of the assists have come from guys inside finding shooters on the perimeter.
Good position there by Grant to keep the ball alive for UMBC. Retrievers looking to hit over 80. They got 79 right now with 2:55 left. And a foul on the floor as Lamar turned. And a timeout on the floor. Jarris Lyles with 11 points this afternoon, including this three-pointer moments ago. Gotcha. All right. And there's Max Portman.
And Fran Dunphy is from Philadelphia.
He is.
Temple's coach. One of the really good guys in the sport.
UMBC with the basketball. Josh Rosario.
First time he's been in today.
Freshman out of Miami Christian. Garrity with the left. Rebound, Chicago State.
Good post up by Garrity, but again, could not quite finish there.
Nolan for the game, and you talked about it. He's really gotten off to a slow start overall. 11 minutes, 3 points, only 1 rebound.
Remember last year, a lot of conference games, he was the guy who sparked things in the second half, particularly early in the half for UMBC.
There's Burns now with 11 for Chicago State, and they'll pressure with about 2 minutes left to go.
Kind of a little zone trap action there, hoping for a turnover. Doesn't work.
UMBC by 16. If this holds up, they'll play the winner tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 of the next game coming up, Presbyterian against Nicholls State.
The blue hose of Presbyterian. That was a foul. You can see the entire jersey move, Garrity's entire jersey move when Simmons made contact with him.
So I'm expecting Presbyterian to come out in blue hose tomorrow.
Or today.
Think, right? Or today, right.
Today. One of their assistant coaches, Michael Sylvester, is Lefty Drizel's grandson.
Can't believe it.
How
Grandson,
about that?
no less.
He's been coaching. His brother is an assistant coach at Mississippi State.
Well, what is it? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree?
No.
Or in this case, the grand tree.
The grand tree.
Garrity with the free throw for UMBC, the junior out of Berea. Out of Cleveland, actually. Went to Berea Mid-Park. There you see his numbers.
I mentioned the other night, Presbyterian was once coached many years ago by Norman Sloan.
That is correct.
Who won a national championship at NC State.
Steal by Grant. And you know what? Chicago State still playing hard.
Yep, they got back on defense. KJ Morris smart enough not to foul there. Just give up the layup and keep the clock moving.
So Pruitt gets the block, and then Pruitt gets the basket. Rosario will pop.
I'm not sure Ryan Odom wanted that shot.
I'm pretty sure Ryan Odom didn't want that shot.
Hands up, palms extended, going, what was that? He's going to blame it on the senior, though, for giving Rosario the ball there and for rushing it up court. At that point, all you want to do is kill clock. KJ Mora played that possession like they were down 15 instead of up 15.
That foul committed by Grant, that's his third.
Most coaches will do that. They'll blame the senior, not the freshman.
At the line is Pruitt.
And KJ's coming out here so Ryan can have a little talk with him.
Ishmael Jabi will check into the game for his first action today. The junior out of Bowie, Maryland, prepped at Roosevelt High.
Actually, Grant came out. KJ just went over to have a chat with his coach or to listen to his coach's monologue.
Right, that wasn't really probably
that was not a dialogue,
yeah,
no. That was a monologue.
That's a good point. Horvath checks in. Lamar will sit down for the final time. Arkell, the sophomore out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, checking out. 22 minutes, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal.
And Jairus Lyles has only played 22 minutes today, right? And that's a good thing because Ryan Odom wanted him to play less minutes, and especially with the game tomorrow, he wanted him to be as rested as he possibly could. As you said, he's been averaging 36 a game.
Retrievers on the inbound. Horvath over to Jabi. Jabi will slow it down. He doesn't want to get that monologue from Ryan.
No, he certainly does not.
And look at Ryan. He's just, hey, everybody, slow down. Got a big meal coming up.
He doesn't even care if they get a shot off here, to be honest.
Less than a minute now to play. Horvath. Rebound for Chicago State. Pruitt. Simmons with a throwdown.
They are roaring into the night here. Chicago State. One of the assistant coaches will say to me, "Hey Ryan, we got to get Jairus a blow." No, so we got to get him a blow, and Ryan will go, "No." It's like the old days when Sidney Lowe, another DeMatha grad,
right,
played for Jim Valvano, and during a game, late in the game, when there's no shot clock, and Sidney sort of trying to dribble time down, and he comes over near the bench and says to Valvano, he says, "Coach, I need a blow," and Valvano says, "Sidney, you will get one just as soon as your eligibility's used up."
Jabi free throw won't go.
They're going to be working on free throws a little bit here the next couple of days.
Well, let's check that number for you. Until that free throw, UMBC was, let's see. Actually better than I thought, 13 of 21.
Well,
but that's not good either.
Yeah, they missed 5 out of the first 10 and have been better since then, but still 13 out of 21 is not good. And they're looking here, I guess, to see who the ball went out on. You just love this with 45 seconds left. In an 11-point game, and we're going to spend 2 or 3 minutes here looking at a replay. Let's see here. Looked to me like it went off of Pruitt.
Looked like he had his hand inside Horvath.
Yeah, Horvath was certainly in the area. Although it's hard to tell. That one looked like it was Horvath.
Yeah.
Just give the ball to somebody and let's play.
So Andy O'Brien and Brandon Cruz right there looking at the monitor.
And they're not ready yet. And Brandon Cruz looking at the monitor, and Andy O'Brien sending Chicago State back to the huddle, and it will be UMBC ball. So the first angle was obviously better than the second one that we saw.
Ishmael Jabi, the Meyerhoff Scholar for UMBC.
And I'll say, all kidding aside, the officials this time of year, they're trying to get in game shape too. So let's say the score was 80 to 79 instead of 80 to 69. It would be critical to get it right. So they go to the monitor to make sure they get it right, and then UMBC turns it over.
That's a lazy inbound from Jabi.
Yeah, it was a lazy inbound from Jabi, and then Pruitt couldn't keep the ball in bounds. so UMBC gets it back. Everybody's thinking about turkey right now, not thinking about basketball.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. I like duck better, actually. My wife makes me a duck.
There's just not enough there, is there?
Well, if you eat the whole duck.
Well, right, that's true. If you're the only one in the family that likes the duck, then
well,
you got it.
My daughter likes duck, Jane.
Ducking.
No, thank you.
Okay.
No, thank you. Let me just have the duck.
I can't even believe turducking's a thing.
I can't even believe my wife is sweet enough to cook it for me. It's one thing for your mother to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And we've got like 10 people in the house.
And she's making you a duck.
Making me a duck.
Wow.
I would thank her, except the chances that she's watching this game right now are about the same as the chances that, I don't know, that
it's snowing in Miami
Beach.
It's
snowing in Miami Beach. That's a good one.
Rosario for the free throw. So let me ask, you're the only one eating duck.
Right.
But you eat at the table with everybody.
Oh, yes. I'm allowed to eat at the table,
Okay.
yes.
They don't have
and I carve the turkey.
They don't have like a separate little card table for you or something.
Not yet. That may happen.
But that's
later.
coming.
But I do carve the turkey. So I'm worthwhile a little bit.
Now, do you carve it manually or do you use like an electric?
Manual.
Manual. Wow. Good for you, John.
What about you?
I don't do any of that. I go to my sister-in-law's and eat.
Smart play.
Yeah, she does Thanksgiving.
And Ryan Odom is not at all happy with the way they're finishing this game.
You gotta finish strong.
Yeah. Giving up several offensive rebounds there, another foul. There you see. Missed shot, they can't corral the rebound. Another missed shot, still can't corral the rebound. And then Burns with that big body gets that board, and somebody stepped in the lane, and it was somebody from Chicago State. So now let's see if Chicago State just backs it off here and lets the clock run out, or if they're playing, they're guarding full court.
Yep.
And they foul. If my good friend Tracy asked for my advice right now, I would say just let the game end here and get ready for tomorrow. They play at noon tomorrow.
Looks like Tracy needs your advice a little bit.
I may walk over there and put a hand around his shoulder.
It's not that bad,
Tracy. Let's go get some dinner. Tracy and I clearly don't miss many meals.
Of course, you'll have the duck.
I will have the duck, and he can have all the turkey he wants.
Mara's free throw is good. KJ was a JUCO All-American last year. KJ holds the JUCO all-time record for most assists in a game with 20.
This is the first game that Chicago State has played where the final margin will be under 35 one way or the other. So they're really their first real game, and they're still fouling. Right to the finish.
Put back by Burns, 6.6 to play, and Rosario, the freshman.
Rosario saying it's fine with me. Building my stats a little.
I could use a couple points. Hands on hips from Ryan Odom.
You can see he's got the look on his face like, come on, fellas, let's get this over with.
We should make mention, by the way, and we're doing it with 6 seconds left. Right behind Ryan Odom in that shot was Eric Skeeters, one of the assistants. It's his birthday today.
That's
there he
right.
is to the left. Eric Skeeters.
He's 49 years old today.
Happy birthday and Thanksgiving to Eric Skeeters.
He's only 10 years older than I am. But happy birthday to Skeets. And as I said, the coaching staff still has work to do when this is finally over, as it is now, because they'll be scouting game 2.
That's your final. UMBC got off to the slow start.